Hey y'all, this is the legendary Sonny G, Sonny with an O, not a U.
And this is your boy Sterling Moody.
And we are Effa Podcast.
Effa Podcast.
And thank you for listening to us. So make sure you tune in to Effa Podcast, a real N-word podcast where we talk about
real N-word stuff.
That's it. So make sure y'all tune in.
Effa Podcast.
Effa Podcast. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in. This is Effa Podcast. I am the legendary Sonny G. And I am honored today. As I say a lot, I often don't know what I'm doing. I just do stuff. And so I decided I wanted to put together a panel of black science fiction / history / mythology / I don't want to just say nerds. I feel like there's a whole bigger thing than nerd now. You know, we're enthusiasts. We are very enthused about that's all. You know, it's just we're enthusiasts to a lot of things. But yeah, I wanted to get a panel of black nerds together to talk about conning while black. And so there's gonna be a rotation of people I've reached out to. Shout out to the Black Geeks of Dragon Con group on Facebook.
For real.
Yeah, that
was impressive this year. That was really impressive.
I mean, like, first off, the name is just spot on. Black Geeks of Dragon Con. It's like, that is all of the words that describe me in one group name. I am a black geek of Dragon Con.
We're all black geeks of Dragon
Con.
Con.
Yeah. So it's like if you're a black geek of Dragon Con and you're not in the group, what are you doing? So I really appreciated that group even existed. And so I reached out and I have gotten some folks to speak. Bretonius, welcome.
Well, thank you. I am Bretonius.
And Bretonius, what is your experiences with being black and nerdy?
Oh wow, that's huge.
Like right now you have on the Static shirt, I see.
Yes, I do. I was Static at for Dragon Con this year, and that was actually kind of a bigger hit than I thought it was gonna be.
Oh yeah,
because he was one of those cosplays where you either knew him or you didn't, and the people who knew him gave me a lot of props. I even put in faux locks in my hair to do the whole cosplay justice. So I got like the shirt, I got the gloves, the jacket, the locks, all that, and everyone loved it.
Absolutely. We missed Static. Like, so we wanted to see, you know, as black geeks, we wanted to see people as Static, and then like to be accurate was like that guy right there.
Yeah, it was important. Static was a huge influence to me as particularly a black teenager, because he was the first cartoon to really show me that. Like, I had seen black heroes, but I hadn't really seen a black teenage superhero either.
Mm-hmm.
And for someone seeing that as a 14-year-old, you know, that was huge for me.
He was our Peter Parker.
He was definitely our Peter Parker.
It's like, wait a second, there's a kid going through problems and being a superhero,
right?
And he's black, and he's got dreads. I feel you. So do you find yourself getting into pointless arguments with people who call him Static Shock?
Not really, because to be honest, I didn't know who Static was in the 90s,
mm-hmm.
and it wasn't until the show introduced me to this cartoon incarnation that, you know, I looked up, you know, his past as Static originally, with the whole bodysuit and the Malcolm X hat and the yellow coat. I didn't know about that until much, much later, actually. So
dope.
I kind of give people a pass because he's still in that middle stream, you either know him or you don't type
mm-hmm.
of area. So if you call him Static Shock, if you call him Static, I usually give people a pass, because it's a lot of people didn't know who he was including myself, until the cartoon came out.
But it's always dope when you can come upon a certain incarnation of a character, and then look and find out there's so much more to him. Like people always say it's being late. I enjoy being late. I actually like being late to stuff. Like, when you've pretty much exhausted all of the resources and media and material of a certain thing, and I'm just now getting hip to it, I love it. Like, because I feel like that gives me more time to get where you're at.
Right.
So like you said, you didn't know. All you knew was the Kids WB cartoon. You didn't know that there was this whole Milestone comics and all this stuff. And then once you got there, it was like, oh, awesome. So I feel that.
Yeah, exactly.
And also joining me in having to get back home because she ran away this morning, Miss Melody Ross.
Hello.
Hi.
How are you?
I am well. So
Awesome.
thank you for joining us. I really appreciate it.
You're welcome.
So earlier we were talking about, I was, every time I relate my experiences with being a nerd, it's always met with, this the stereotypical story of being an outcast and being shunned. And your experience wasn't like that. So if I'm not mistaken, right?
Correct. It was not like that at all.
What were your experiences being?
I had very supportive friends who didn't quite understand why I like to read so much, but they were like, okay, we understand and we know we're going to call you if we need to, get bailed out of jail or need a ride.
You were Google back in the day, weren't you?
I was the reliable one.
The friend who read was always like pre-internet Google. It was like, hey, what is a hippopotamus's natural habitat? Like you had to have that answer on hand.
Yeah, and if I didn't have it, I'd be like, give me a minute, I'll get it for you.
Oh yeah. My dad used to make me read the encyclopedia as punishment. We had World Book encyclopedias, so we had volumes A through Z, and some volumes were like double volumes. And anytime I got in trouble, his whole thing was, you know what, go grab P, or whatever letter he decided that day, whatever he was feeling, go grab that letter, and I want a full 3-page report on whatever you find in P. And all of P? Huh. So I'm sitting here learning. See, I can't even think of anything right now. But that's what my dad that was his idea of a punishment. It was like, go grab the encyclopedia and go do a report. So now I have all of this useless knowledge. That's what got me into being a black nerd, is just having useless knowledge and being like, hey, other people know this. Let me go communicate with them. So that was my way of blending in. But you were just so cool with it. It wasn't even an issue of trying to blend in. You were just naturally blending.
I have a personality. I can blend anywhere.
I can see that. I can kind of tell.
You're very adaptable, aren't you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm smack in the middle if I take a personality test.
I definitely relate to that because I kind of have a similar blending. I'm kind of a nomad when it comes to friends. So I have like one type of friends here, one type of friends here, one type of friends here. And not all of them might know each other, but I still am like good friends with all of them.
You're able to move in and out of each group flawlessly,
Yeah.
even if they would never interact with each other.
Absolutely.
I can dig that. I can dig that. All right, so I invited some people to call. Let's go ahead and give Monique a call. She's on. Monique is on.
Hi,
Monique.
I'm here.
So you just been listening to this whole
Hey.
thing, huh?
Yes, and it has been hilarious. I'm loving it.
Well, thank you. So, Monique, I remember I reached out to you last year. You were Captain Marvel, right?
Yes.
Okay. And I just remember like it hitting me like Black Captain Marvel. First off, I didn't know anything about Photon being Captain Marvel for whatever reason. I guess I forgot it. So just seeing you as Carol Danvers was like, that is so awesome. And I like had to show my daughter and everything like that. What?
Aww.
Oh, right. So we're talking about experiences with being black and nerdy. What would you say was the first time you realized you were a part of nerd culture?
That's a good question. I would say honestly, when I was very young. I know I'm on the phone, but I actually have on a Wonder Woman T-shirt right now. I loved Wonder Woman when I was little. I mean, to the point that I used to lasso people with my jump ropes. I would call it my lasso of truth.
That's
I would
assault,
spin
right?
around to get, yeah,
Can't just go
I
around
would
lassoing
spin
people.
around. Yeah, I would just be like, we heard you have candy, like, let's tell the truth, right? And then I would spin around to get dressed, and just because that's what she did. And that at first I thought, that's cool. I'm a girl. I like Wonder Woman. But then it's different when you get to school and everybody was like, okay, why are you so much? You know what I'm saying? Why are you so much into her? Why do you like her so much? And then I felt like, wait a minute, why is that wrong? Why is that wrong that I relate, with her, and I had read some of her comics before, but then when you get to school, it's a different thing. And I think I was mentioning before, sometimes you have to find those people. You have to find your people who connect with you. And when I was very young, it was very difficult because I didn't really know anybody else like me until I got much older. And then I was like, okay, these are my group, these are my people. But it was very difficult being young. And, why do you know so much about Batman or Wonder Woman? Kind of like, what's wrong with you? I'm like, there's nothing wrong with me.
Right.
I this is what I love. But it is difficult when you feel like you're doing it by yourself. I never stopped. And I was just so happy. Like when that Wonder Woman movie came out, I literally cried because I had been waiting for that as a child. So I just, it meant so much to me. I think I actually did cry a few times.
That is dope. So your Wonder Woman is my Spider-Man. My dad had, when I was a little kid, my dad had these crates, these milk crates of comics. And so the first comic I can remember reading was Secret War, and it was the one where he found the black alien goop that ended up turning him into Venom. But it was when it changed his costume black, and that was a big deal back then. And that was, so when the first Spider-Man movie dropped in 2002, I was like so excited. I didn't even care about the fact that you could see a boom mic in the background in certain scenes, and that the dialogue didn't really go together, and there was like absolutely no reason for certain scenes to exist. I didn't care. I just wanted to see Spider-Man. I was just so happy that. And so now we have like 3 different iterations of Spider-Man, and everybody's fighting over who's the best one. And I'm just like, I'm just glad he's on the screen. That's all I care about.
Exactly.
Now, if we can just get Miles on there, that would be, But it's coming. It's coming.
I definitely think it's on the way.
Oh yeah. So Melody.
Yes.
You've been sitting there looking terrified. Like I hope he doesn't ask me anything else. So I do want to ask you, since you've been listening to us and we related the whole having to find our tribe thing. Do you feel like since you found more black nerds, that does it feel like you're fitting in, or does it feel like, oh well, y'all are catching up to me? Like,
I mean, the interesting thing about it was I didn't actually hear about, because I've been going to Dragon Con for 7 years, but I didn't hear about the Black Geek photo shoot until 2 years ago. And I was like, wait, well, what do you mean? When did this happen? Like, I've been going all these years. And I'm like, I didn't know about it. And I wasn't even going to dress up that year. And I pulled out a costume I had made for me like 2 years prior. And I was like, yeah, I'm going to bring it. I went, because I just had my hair braided. So I ended up going as an African elf princess.
oh,
And I had spray painted the crown, and this custom gown was just super elaborate and just super flowy with leaves on it. And then
awesome.
a friend of mine told me where I can go get the elf ears so I can actually have them painted to match my skin color, which I had a lot of compliments on the ears. People were like, "Oh my God, the ears! How? Where did you get these ears?" And I was only going to wear it just for the photo shoot that Sunday. And then a friend of mine was like, "Well, I'm not going to be able to go on Sunday. Can you put it on Saturday too?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'll just put it on for a second. You see me." And then she ended up leaving early. But then I was like, "All right, I'm just going to go to this panel." And I ended up wearing it all day Saturday because I had so many people stopping me asking to. They'd like, "Can we take your picture?" And I was like, "Well, yes, you can. Yes, you can take a picture of me in this awesome gown."
doesn't that feel
And
awesome?
It is quite amazing. It was really
I was
funny.
gonna say, Monique, I know you got that, like, cause you were Salt this year from Salt and Pepper.
Okay, yeah, so Secret, that kind of came from last year. And remember last year I was in an all black gym and the holograms, which was amazing. amazing. And immediately after that, shout out to Lisa Lake. She said, "Well, how are we going to top that, right? Like how are we going to do better than that?" And she said, "Oh, let's you and I be salt and pepper." And I was like, of course, like Black, that's part of our history. I'm like, I'm down for it. But then as we got closer to Dragon Con, I was like, okay, like we're already Black, right? Like how can we nerd this up, right? How can we do this? And I had an idea. I said, why don't we mash them up? And so I thought I like Garnet. And so I'm like, okay, I can find a furl, I can find some futuristic shades, so I can be Garnet / Pepper. And she was like, oh my God, perfect. I can be Salt / Josie and the Pussycats. I got a tambourine, I got a tail, and we were like, it's happening. And I can feel you, Melody. We wore that way longer than we thought we were going to wear that because people responded so well to it. Like everybody, like that's a part of Black history. It's salt and pepper, like fierce, hip hop female group. And then during the Black Geeks of Dragon Con shoot, I heard several people say, "No, like this is for us, right? Like this is for us. This is our history," and that made me feel so happy to hear that. So I feel like we perfectly put being Black and being nerdy together, and it was amazing. Just we were received just so many compliments, and just that felt so amazing.
Oh,
Absolutely.
I am so glad that
feel that.
I wanted to do, because there's all these parallels. Like that's what you were talking about with Static. It was like like the feeling you had when you seen Static, and then you got to give that feeling to people who seen you as Static. It was like, yo, this is what I wanted to see. Somebody who portrays in just that way.
Exactly.
Like and then like. Black elves. We don't just see black.
That was awesome.
You can't just tune in to Game of Thrones and see a black elf or anything.
But the interesting thing about it was the lady, and I can't think of her name on the top of my head right now, but the lady that played the original Anna Green Gable, she loved it so much she asked to take a selfie with me.
See?
Wow.
And I was like, it's Anna Green Gable.
Wow.
Of course you can take a selfie with me. I should have charged her, but that's all right.
Don't get ahead of yourself now. Well, Monique, thank you for calling in. Is there anything else you would like to say before we let you go this evening?
Yes, really quick. I just want to say, and also in terms of being Black and nerdy, I feel like we are a family.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I know, shout out to at Standout Cosplay, he recently lost his mother. And just, I reached out to him. I know several others of us that did. And just to go to his page and just see the love that we put on him, like really touched my heart. I mean, just hundreds of people that I've taken pictures with or have cosplayed with, just like a real family coming together, wishing him well, praying for his strength at that difficult time. That made me feel proud, to be a Black geek, that we put aside, like it's more than just cosplay. Like we became a family.
Absolutely, and shout out.
And
to
I just thought that was amazing.
Yeah. Shout out. I reached out to him. I didn't know about his mother, and I reached out to him also to be a part of the show, and he let me know about it, and I let him know, hey brother, there's plenty of Sundays to record, but definitely be with your family in this time. So, and you're right, it is because I felt like once I found out what was going on, I felt myself like, oh, like I should have known there should be I should be able to send flowers, so it's definitely more than just being a group of people who have something in common. It starts feeling a lot like, a lot of camaraderie and familiarity with each other. So absolutely. Thank you for that. Thank you. And we might call you back a little bit later. Right now, I have some other people who we have to get back to because we started the show late. But thank you, Monique. You have a great day.
Sure. Thank you so much, you too. Okay, bye.
Yeah. Like, what? No, we're not off the air. That was just, we were just letting the one person who called in go, Our budget doesn't have multiple lines in it so far. Right now the budget is only called for one line, so we have one call in per person. We have you two sitting here. We've got people waiting in the hall. This is gonna work out. This is gonna work out. Again, I had no idea what I was doing when I put it together, but hey, I am enjoying myself so far. So as long as everybody stays hydrated, get some snacks, I think we're gonna have a wonderful show.
Exactly.
I really feel like that. The thing that I think I'm most proud of when I research stuff is when I find that a black person was involved, like video games. When I found out that the microchip system and everything that cartridge game systems all used in the beginning was invented by a black man, I was like, yo, so you mean to tell me black nerds have been doing things like this like for a while?
For decades, for years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like apparently we've been at the forefront of scientific culture for a while.
Yeah.
And knowing that is just so like I think the nerdiest thing that I'm not the nerdiest thing, but see, so you know my nerd trap nerd brand, it's not necessarily got to do with trap music. I think of trap as anything that is a circumstance that holds on to you, good or bad. It's a circumstance that holds on to you that you might need to get away from. So anything that you use as a nerd, because we're enthusiasts, anything that you use to escape that, whether it's mentally or actually leaving that environment or whatever, that's what my brand stands for. And so I say that to say the nerdiest research I've done is finding out that a black man invented the potato chip, which to me just sounds like the blackest thing in history. Like, you mean to tell me a black man sliced potatoes, heated up grease, threw them in there, and that became like the national snack of the United States? That is the blackest thing that is like the epitome. Huh? By accident.
Yeah.
Right. Man was trying to invent something completely different and came up with the world's most famous snack. All right, we have Joshua on the line. Joshua, are you there?
Yes, sir. How you doing?
I am doing great. Thank you for participating. We are talking about being black and nerdy.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So, well, so far we've got a plethora of experiences. We've got some folks who, like I grew up in the '90s and being black and nerdy was like shunned upon. Like I was trying to get Spider-Man sneakers when everybody else wanted the fresh Jordans. And then we had
right.
other folks who it wasn't that big of a deal. It was like, oh, I'm just, a free-spirited person and everybody accepts me. Or I don't know. I guess I'm trying to figure out, Melody, exactly how you didn't have any issues with being a black nerd. Like, I'm like, somebody had to.
No, I got... I did have constantly people saying that I talk white, and I was trying to be like white people, or I had white people say, "Oh, you're not like those other black
There we
people."
go. There we go.
Yeah.
I was waiting. I knew
There
it.
it is.
Yeah, I wasn't black enough, and I was acting too white.
Yeah.
So that, and I just kind of grew up with that and just brushed it off as best I possibly could. I'm like, I'm not gonna change how I talk or the things I like.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So, Joshua, those are the two ends of being black and nerdy that we have so far been covering. Do you have any insight that you would like to add to this?
So I definitely had a similar experience where if you enunciate or you use certain terms and your vernacular is considered that you're trying to act white. So like I play Magic the Gathering, and I've done this for 12, 13 years or so, and it's dominated by white people in terms of the people that are participating.
Mm-hmm.
So like I've been around areas where it's just mostly white people. Like even in high school and college, if you take like honors English or advanced sciences and whatnot, it was mostly the white people that are taking it. So I get where she's coming from, where if you talk a certain way, you act a certain way, you're interested in certain things, it's considered to be something that only white people do. Fortunately, I think it's changed some in the past few years, 10 years or so. When you see like Megan Thee Stallion and T-Pain and their recent cosplay that they did, it kind of has, I think, opened the doors to some people that would not normally consider themselves even interested in doing something that is traditionally nerdy in quotation marks.
Yeah,
I agree.
definitely.
I definitely agree with that. I had some friends of mine who we went to college together, and we brought up this thing. We brought up this subject. Now it's just sort of like, if you like it, just go for it. Because there is more than enough permission now,
Right.
and even that you don't even need permission if it's something that you want to go for. Just you don't have to wait for it. You just have to take the plunge.
Right.
Like one thing in Black culture that we like is Dragon Ball Z. So you got people who love Dragon Ball Z, and if they want to cosplay Goku or Vegeta or anybody else, I don't see why they can't just do that. And it's definitely a lot more accepted now. There's definitely a shift now, particularly in the past 20 years or so. So I think that black nerds are it.
Yeah.
So,
Oh, it's crazy how we go from being the minority of something to like taking over. Like I'm just sitting there thinking about how, when the NBA and stuff first started, it was a big deal to have a black guy on the team, and now the NBA is like 98.7% black. And I'm pretty sure that like that's gonna happen with Magic the Gathering and Pokemon Go at some point. Like you're gonna look up and it's gonna be like, there's a white guy who plays Pokemon Go. What? there are white Magic the Gathering player. You're kidding me. You are kidding me. Dungeons and Dragons. There is a Chinese kid playing Dungeons and Dragons. Come look at this. Come look at this. I feel like that's how prevalent. Cause we make everything cool, and now if you look, nerd culture is so cool. And black people make things cool, so it feels like it's hand in hand, because think about it. BET came out this year and did a profile on the con and the cosplayers and everything like that. Whereas I am absolutely sure the most coverage BET would have done back when I first was a nerd was like hits from the street messing with somebody in cosplay.
yeah.
Yeah.
And anybody listening who doesn't know who Hits from the Streets is, I apologize. That's how old I am. That's go look back at matter of fact, the nerd culture from '97, Ceda's World, if you will.
Oh wow. Wow.
Just don't look up Uncut. Don't do that.
That's a throwback for me.
I think black people just are able to add spice to something, like the stereotype is that white people don't use spices or whatever. And basically it's like we've created this dish, we didn't change the base ingredients, we just kind of added some spice to it, add some flavor, a little bit of pizzazz, and voila, you just have something that, while it's technically, it might still be chicken or it might still be nerddom, but we've changed it to where it's just a lot more beautiful. It's a lot more fun, a lot more exciting.
Acceptable.
Right.
It's got more pizzazz.
We have re-whipped nerd culture.
Yeah, I actually
Right.
the last couple of years I've actually made sure most of my pictures I have from Dragon Con is the people of color dressing up so other people can see. No, people of color come to this, they dress up, they do some really cool stuff, and they look amazing doing it.
Absolutely.
And yeah, we're not even gonna talk about Black Panther. Like I had a Black Panther party.
Wakanda's a whole nother show. I can't even. We're not even gonna try to fit Wakanda on this show.
Yeah, bring me back for that.
Joshua, thank you for calling in. I appreciate your input. And we are actually coming to the end of this particular show. I want to thank my guest panelists. Melody, do you have social media? Is there any? I know you're a real recluse. So is there any place that the introvert world can reach out to you? Or do we just send like a bat signal?
No, Facebook, Melody Ross. I am myself. You'll see me up there. And I can't even think of my Twitter and stuff. I don't hardly ever use it, but
you know what? Just
Melody Ross.
Melody
Ross on Facebook. I'll accept you, and we can talk about this. whenever.
And Bretonius, I have been waiting all this time to say that is a fantastic name. I want you to high five your parents the next time you see, because I mean, just Bretonius. It just,
I've heard it all.
I feel like you can walk through a brick wall if you wanted to with that name. Just like, yeah, like, did you call? I'm sorry, did you like if I was getting into a fight with somebody, they'd be like, I'm gonna call my big brother. You call your big brother. I'm gonna call Bretonius. Oh, did you say Bretonius? No, don't call Bretonius. I'm sorry. I thought you meant like Jeff or one of the other ones. Don't call. But where can they reach you on social media?
I mostly use Instagram and Twitter lately, so at Bretonius2 for both. And for those who like to put an extra O in there, there's only one O. It's BRITTONIUS 2 for both Instagram and Twitter. I do have a cosplay page that I haven't really been I've been kind of neglecting for like the past year because life things. But that's Bretonius Cosplay. Same spelling, BRITTONIUS Cosplay.
All right. Well, thank y'all for tuning in once again to Effa Podcast. You can find us on Spotify, SoundCloud, everything. If you like the show, please make sure that you contribute to the Patreon. And other than that, you have a... Wait, how do I usually sign these things off? Oh, yeah. You be cool like how you be cool. And I will talk to y'all later. Peace.
Later.
This is the legendary Sonny G, and thank you for tuning in to Effa Podcast. You can also go ahead and follow us at Trap Nerd ENT on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. You can also go to our Patreon if you enjoy what we do and make a donation, patreon.com/TrapNerdENT, and be on the lookout for future events. Sign up for our email list at trapnerdent@gmail.com. Again, thank you for listening. Y'all be cool like how y'all be cool.